What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So it's been absolute chaos when it comes to Switch 2 pre-orders, obviously in the US and in Canada, with both of them being postponed. But the June 5th release date for the system has not changed at all. Well, now it looks like we may have good news when it comes to that word that you've probably heard a ton recently, and that's tariffs, and how Nintendo could be going live any moment now for the Switch 2 pre-orders, and we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about a big showcase to look forward to this summer, and it seems like it could be one of the largest ones we've seen from Microsoft, as they've already turned in a pretty impressive overall 2025. And then we have rumors going around about a game people have been asking to see for a long time now. And unfortunately, we have, on the opposite side, denials for it. It's back and forth right now, but people are wondering, could we actually see a Titanfall 3 get released? Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button or the link in the description down below. And we're going to start today with Nintendo Switch Online, or I guess just Nintendo Switch 2 Online with the GameCube application and that controller. The GameCube controller, I think, looks awesome. It's obviously a callback to the Wavebird. I'll be picking it up and we'll check it out here on the channel. But there is some fine print that people noticed on it, which you can see this is posted up. This is over on VGC, where they pointed out that it reads, the controller is only compatible with Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics. Now, this turned into a whole thing online yesterday for a few hours, but as soon as I saw it, I said, yeah, okay, I've seen that before. You know, with all the other classic controllers, they've said the same thing, but you can technically use it with a bunch of different games. It's just, do you have enough buttons? Do you have the right layout? Because if not, you're not really going to have a great time using that controller. Like, look at the N64 controller. You have one joystick. It's going to be tough in games that require two. It's pretty straightforward. The GameCube, for example, it's missing a select button. Also might not have clickable sticks. I mean, we need to see. I assume Nintendo tried to keep it as close to just the GameCube traditional controller as possible. So you can try and use it and see what happens, but that isn't necessarily quote-unquote compatible across the board because it may not have all the inputs you need. But we also did get a confirmation that the GameCube adapter will work, so things like Smash Bros. On the Switch 2 shouldn't have a problem. You can wire up your classic GameCube controllers if you want and play the game no problem. Also, we had an awesome surprise for the PlayStation 5 with that welcome tab. When you first turn the system on, you can have it set up, go in there, have your widgets. And I've been looking at the background from time to time and been like, you know, it'd be cool if they had an animated background, something fun just to have to greet you when you turn the system on. And it looks like Sony has now done that, or at least they've kind of done it. It's rolling out to different people now on PlayStation, and my PS5 just happened to get the update, and I was going through a few of them. So, for example, I posted this up over on Twitter where you can see the Ghost of Yote background, and it looks good. I mean, it does. You do have to, I had to remove a lot of the widgets just to get a good look at it here for the video. If you have widgets across it, you know, you'll get a, I guess, somewhat of a more crowded look at this, but they have a number of them, like Demon Souls, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima. Astrobot was up and people noticed it, but now these have been added. So there's actually a bunch of them. Really cool stuff. I guess just over time, everyone should have these added to their welcome menu. And in fact, you can go check right now to see if it's there and let me know which background you would pick out of the ones they have available. Oh, and we do have an interesting story here when it comes to Donkey Kong Bananza, as of course the game looks awesome. I love the destructibility of it. I like the redesign of DK. Just pretty much everything about the game looks fun. Well, people are trying to figure out who's making it, and Nintendo, for the most part, has just said no comment. Like, you can see this. This is over on Nintendo Life, where IGN asked who was the development team on Donkey Kong Bananza for Switch 2, and Nintendo of America's Vice President of Product and Player Experience, Bill Trinan, responded with, "You'll have to stay tuned." Now, at this point, people are thinking it has that Mario Odyssey DNA, so maybe EPD Tokyo is working on this, as Koizumi apparently was hovering around people who were playing the game at these Switch 2 hands-on events with press and stuff, so that's kind of what I'm leaning towards as well. But then what does that mean for a big new 3D Mario game? Could they have been working on that as well as Donkey Kong Bananza? Apparently we'll have to wait and find out, which means we'll probably have to look to the credits after the game releases to find out who made it. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Nintendo Switch 2 and the situation around the pre-orders in the US and in Canada. Now, from what we can tell, In Canada, it was delayed, and they mentioned to sort of coincide with the US pre-orders. Now, it could be because people in the US would try to, I guess, show up when the pre-orders go live in Canada and try to pull a lot of that stock away. It's hard to say, but I guess just from proximity, the thing, you know what, it's better to have in this like North American region, have all these pre-orders go live like all at once. So basically it's like, okay, when US pre-orders are set, we assume Canada will be as well. And a lot of that seems to be coming down to the tariff situation. Vietnam is the big one that keeps getting pointed out because tariffs were 46% after they were signed in and stuff last week. Well, now we have an update, and it seemed like the market exploded yesterday, but it turns out tariffs are getting like a 90-day holding period. Now, this we can see posted up. This is over on CNBC saying Trump temporarily drops tariffs to 10% for most countries, hits China harder with 125%. So basically, 90 days are now there as like a hold for these tariffs. All of them are at 10%, except for, as mentioned, with China there. And I think a few other countries, but for the most part, like Vietnam, as an example, again, the one that was really pointed out, is now at 10%, and that's 90 days to allow trade negotiations with these other countries. And in fact, last night, just ahead of this recording, it looked like Vietnam was setting up for negotiations for a more, I guess, just long-term solution here with the US. And all of that, of course, then amounts to the idea of Switch 2 pre-orders. I know it's what most of you, like, I don't think a lot of you are concerned about the, like, global economic trade war stuff and terror. You're like, okay, when do the Switch 2 pre-orders go live? Because I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be available and stuff to get the pre-order in, because we kind of know what's going to happen with bots and stuff, and it'll be a whole thing. So again, might be better to schedule at a time to go to a store around when pre-orders go live, like a GameStop or something, just to try there. But it does look like in the UK, as you can see, yeah, the Switch 2, those pre-orders were selling out quick. So pre-orders for the standalone Switch 2 console and the Mario Kart World Bundle sold out quickly after they opened up on Tuesday in the UK. And it seems like they're going in and out of stock. At this time, I was kind of looking around, they were just completely out of stock. Australia has been mostly in stock from what I can tell, but again, availability seemingly where it goes live for pre-orders, they're just gone. In Japan, apparently Nintendo's website was struggling bad with getting things set up for pre-orders and invitations and stuff, so it's... I know there's been a lot of back and forth and backlash towards Nintendo online, but you have to understand, this is a product that is coming off of a generation where there was more than 150 million systems that were sold. There's going to be a lot of people there at launch. Early adopters will, I think, take up the first year of the system. And there's a good chance that by the end of this year, like, so we'd be looking at a June launch to the end of December, 12 to 15 million units. I think that's pretty easy for them to accomplish here. Many of the analysts are also pointing to that as if they can provide enough, they will get there. And I would agree with it. And in fact, this being just a 90-day period now with the tariffs at 10%, would kind of push Nintendo to do a ton of allocation to the US, stockpile, quote unquote, just in case things don't necessarily work out. They'll already have them in the US here to be able to distribute that way. But still, let's say they moved like some 6 million or some crazy, like I was putting on, those will sell through. And then they'll have to come to terms again 6 or 7 months from now. Okay, what do we do if the tariff stuff wasn't figured out? So yes, it'd be important to pay attention to things like Vietnam when it comes to the tariff amount, the percentages that they'll be dealing with, because that will ultimately decide what Nintendo's plans are in the more distant future. I think for now, though, they're good to go with pre-orders at any time, and that's the big thing now. Anytime. I mean, April 9th, they're already kind of cutting it close. I mentioned to you guys, 6 to 8 weeks is what Nintendo would ask for pre-orders, like a deadline. And we're already cutting it close here with April 9th. That was when I was doing retail a long time ago with wholesalers. Maybe it's changed a bit. But when it came to systems in particular compared to games, it was even more strict. So I kind of feel like they want to get these pre-orders up as soon as possible. And that very well could be today. Like, you could get news, and I assume they're going to give at least some sort of like heads up, 12 to 24 hours. Maybe it'll be Monday or Tuesday next week. Maybe it'll be Friday, so tomorrow. But keep an eye out. And of course, I'll keep you guys up to date on the pre-orders in the US and then also Canada and when they're set to go live. Next up, let's talk about a big showcase for the summer that's now been announced. And this is sort of that E3, not E3 time, or I guess just, what do we just call it, Summer Game Fest time. E3 is like years removed at this point. So eventually we do have to, I guess, move on from it. But we do have Microsoft holding their big Xbox showcase for the summer. They posted this over on Xbox Wire, where they say, make some space on your calendar. The Xbox Game Showcase 2025 will be live streamed on Sunday, June 8th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Following the footsteps of the 2023 Starfield Direct and the 2024 Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct, this year we will again have a double feature, with the Xbox Game Showcase immediately followed by the Outer Worlds 2 Direct. By the way, I do like that the showcase isn't just Call of Duty every year following up, because look, Call of Duty, massive for Microsoft, comes out every year. Of course, they own Activision Blizzard now, so yes, that is their big holiday title, it seems, and you could show it here every year, and great, there it is. People will buy it in droves, and it's good marketing for it. However, I like the idea of giving the spotlight to things like The Outer Worlds 2, as that will also be a big focus for them in the second half of 2025. They say it's going to be bringing you a look at upcoming titles from across our first-party studios, in addition to incredible new titles from our third-party partners across the globe. This year, the show will be digital only. Our live stream will bring you everything you'll need to know about what's next for Xbox, no matter where in the world you're watching. So that is kind of a shame in terms of like an in-person event. They're not doing that. It's just going to be live stream, digital, probably pre-recorded, that kind of stuff. So the idea of having a big stage with people in the crowd off the table here, I guess it could return next year, but let's face it, for a lot of these companies, it's just easier to set everything up in a very controlled manner and do multiple takes if you have to, whatever, so that it's a nice, concise presentation. And then you can do the more live, interactive stuff at Summer Game Fest, for example, where you go there and you demo a lot of the games and just talk to some of the gamers there. But Microsoft, while again, they have had a good start to 2025, I think they still have some surprises with that Oblivion remake out there somewhere, and it could be announced at any time. And then also, apparently Shadow dropped. And it just seems like right now Microsoft is ready to really move in 2025. And I think that's what's going to happen here. They're going to showcase some pretty impressive stuff alongside of a bunch of games for the second half of the year. I am wondering if something like Gears E-Day, if that could make it in for 2025. And if it did, I don't even know where it would place, because remember, while we are talking about first-party stuff with them, which we know, Call of Duty, The Outer Worlds 2, GTA 6 is going to be in there somewhere. We know that. They're going to obviously be paying attention to their partners' games as well as their own. So while maybe they could get another big title out there like a Gears, Fable we know is in 2026, maybe Perfect Dark's in 2026, they kind of have to make way for GTA 6. And that's definitely going to take up a nice big chunk of the calendar. So I am curious what they have for us here in June. Any kind of interesting Game Pass shadow drops or some surprise partner publishing reveals like they did with Ninja Gaiden 4, which was awesome. That, by the way, also coming out towards the end of this year. So again, their calendar is kind of already filling up. Curious what else they can add in here to coincide with the GTA 6 release over the summer. Next up, let's talk about PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers, as we have the games revealed for the service. And there's two dates to take note of here. One being today, April 10th, as that's when Blueprints is releasing into the service, but also PGA Tour is releasing as well into PlayStation Plus Extra. Everything else, April 15th. And let's start at the top here. And that's with Hogwarts Legacy. That's a good release. That's PS4 and PS5. Again, we have Blueprints. That's on the PS5. That is out today. And I mean, the reviews have been stacking up, guys. This looks like one of the highest rated games of the year. Puzzle, roguelike style game. I'm interested. I will go ahead and download it and try it out. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. That's tape 2, by the way. So if you play tape 1, you're waiting. There it is. It'll be dropping in. EA Sports PGA Tour, of course. Battlefield 1. That's the PS4 version that would, of course, be backwards compatible on the PS5. Played Up, that's PS4 and PS5. Moving to PlayStation Plus Premium. Alone in the Dark 2, PS4 and PS5. And then War of the Monsters, that's the PS2 title, kind of kaiju style, like arena fighter. They mentioned 13 Destructible Battlegrounds, and what's cool is they do have, of course, full trophy support. They even point out the all-important Platinum Trophy. But these were like fun games that fit in really well during this generation. They mentioned in 2003. So I think of like that era. GameCube, PS2, Xbox. It definitely feels like that style arcade game, and it's a lot of fun. That's one I'll download, play for a little bit, and be like, all right, yeah, I definitely remember these days. But the other thing, of course, with this, is a PS Plus price increase. Now, this is confirmed for 15 different countries by Sony, and that includes places like Argentina, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, El Salvador, Mexico. We have them all listed right here, you can see. Then we also have some of the changes and updated pricing for PlayStation Plus Essential, PlayStation Plus Extra, and PlayStation Plus Deluxe. Now, Deluxe, to my understanding, is premium just without the streaming because it's not available in some of like the regions here. So yeah, unfortunate, they are raising prices. Apparently, it reflects a $10 increase for 12 months for the year of Essential, $14 increase for 12 months of Extra, and then $18 increase for PlayStation Plus Deluxe. So there you have it, price increases as well as a bunch of games going in. I do think the games for this month are pretty good for PlayStation Extra and Premium. PS2 game going in with War of the Monsters, but then also looking at something like Blueprints, kind of snuck up a bit here as one of the better rated games of the year, and something, again, I'll be checking out. But Hogwarts Legacy, if you haven't played it, highly recommend it. It's a very good game in the Harry Potter universe. Certainly higher quality than I think a lot of people were expecting when we originally heard whispers of that being a thing. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about something that has the potential for a massive setup for massive disappointment, because I saw this pop up online and I was like, there's no way that's really a thing. Titanfall 3. Now, we can see this posted up. This is over on Insider Gaming. The source here is considered a reliable Apex Legends leaker, making ties and connections to the Titanfall franchise logical and promising. Okay, so here's what they had to say over on Twitter X. Unreal Engine 5, it's almost complete. Single-player campaign, live service with battle passes, which a lot of that kind of adds up. Although the Unreal Engine 5, Titanfall 1 and 2 was like a customized source engine, for I remember. But I guess if you were going to make a third one, you'd probably use an engine that's at least well-known and easier to develop with. So I mean, you'd probably go with Unreal Engine 5. The main modes, Extraction, other modes, TDM, Control Arenas, all Titanfall 2 classic modes, some returning Apex characters, and a weather system. Okay. Obviously, people want to believe this is a thing. I know. But then here's Jeff Grubb, who showed up as well on Twitter X saying, Titanfall 3 isn't real. That's, yeah, it stings. It isn't in the works, let alone near completion, and close to announcement for a 2026 release. Respawn is working on Apex Legends, Star Wars Jedi 3, and the Bit Reactor Star Wars game. It then also has Steve Fukuda's Skunkworks project, which is years away. So, yes, it seems like they are quite busy there at Respawn. It is unfortunate, because I saw a ton of excitement around Titanfall 3 when that rumor popped up. It's like, everyone's like, finally, it's happening. Titanfall 2, awesome game, by the way. If you've not played it, I mean, it's usually on sale for like $5. Completely worth $5. Really, really is. And if you have Game Pass, I believe it's in the service, because it's part of like the EA Play thing that's connected to Game Pass Ultimate. Give it a download one way or the other. It's worth the $5 or $10 or worth the download on Game Pass Ultimate. But because that game was so good, people have been clamoring for Titanfall 3. Titanfall 2 just kind of got buried. It came out between Battlefield and Call of Duty, never stood a chance with that brand recognition surrounding it, especially during the holidays. So it's been unfortunate that's been on the back burner, it feels like, at Respawn, as of course they are working on Apex Legends, which has been a successful live service game for them. But right now, I would say err on the side of it not being a thing, and if it shows up, awesome, it's a surprise. At least that way you won't technically be let down believing there is a Titanfall 3 out there somewhere, and then you end up just getting a Apex Legends update or something, and that's it. So, hey, we'll see by the end of this year, because apparently it's setting up for a 2026 release. So yeah, they probably want to announce it here in the coming months. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, have you played Titanfall 2? Okay, 54% say no. 46% say yes. Not bad. Typically, you guys will see I'll ask a question for a game, and usually it's more slanted towards no. This is almost half and half, so not bad. I have seen some people mention that they're not even really an FPS person, like they don't really play a lot of the first-person shooter games, but Titanfall 2 was awesome, and it's super underrated, and I completely agree. The campaign's not even super long, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and the multiplayer was genuinely fun when it was more populated with people playing it, when it was newer. Again, poor timing for it. Some have wondered if it was on purpose so that EA could then swoop in and buy Respawn, and maybe it was, and it's just tactics and business and stuff in order to get them cheaper or just at all. So I'd love to see Titanfall 3. I really would. I think it'd be awesome. But I am going to curb my expectations with this one and say that it's probably not happening. That way, if it does, I can be genuinely surprised and look forward to the follow-up to, like, again, one of the best campaigns, I think, in a first-person shooter. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from the Infinity Master saying, John, don't forget about people inhaling OG Switch fumes as well. This is definitely going to be a thing again with the Switch 2. No, okay, so yes, that was a thing because I double checked and they're like Reddit posts from 7 years ago. It's like, hey, you know what? I noticed that the fumes coming out of the Switch actually smell good. And people are just going back and forth like, are you sure? Maybe I'll try it. But the big one was Steam Deck. Remember, that was a whole thing where Valve had to issue like a statement, hey, don't inhale the Steam Deck fumes, please. And everyone was like, well, we're going to do it anyway. And that was the whole thing with customer service there. But you're right. That'll probably be an article. Just reviewing the smell of the fumes for the Switch 2 exhaust. But I'll get ahead of it now and say, probably don't spend time inhaling that consistently. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you want to hear more about Doug Bowser and a bit of a PR gaffe by him that has the internet comparing him to Don Matrick from the Xbox One days. I'll leave that right below it. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.